Welcome to Walking the Earth. Today we are at Pashtupatinath Temple in the Kathmandu Valley, and we're near a number of shrines on the temple grounds with very big, interesting trees that I've never seen. Some type of evergreen. Beautiful. They remind me of trees that you would see in Oregon or Washington. Quite lovely. Very pretty temple grounds. As a non-Hindu, I'm not allowed to enter into the actual precincts of the temple, but the general area we can wander about and explore a bit. And there are shrines around, and then the cremation grounds along the Bagmati River, which is a tributary of the Ganges, of the Ganga. So it's a very holy, sacred river. It's more than 1 billion people in the world, basically. So a little bit about Shiva. The umbrella term Hinduism, which is related to those who are on the other side of the Indus, the Hindu people, the Sindhu people, the Indus people, like a lot of what we call Hinduism actually has its start in what is now Pakistan. And some of it, of course, through the Aryan peoples and the Vedic peoples came from up in Central Asia, in the grasslands region, and perhaps beyond. But Shiva is one of the main deities, the focuses of devotion and attention and contemplation within the umbrella term of Hinduism. Along with a couple of the other major deities associated with him would include Vishnu, who has many avatars, many different incarnations. Shiva also has many incarnations from my understanding, and he can take many forms, such as in a fearsome form he can be Bhairava, which you will see in the Kathmandu Valley at a number of places, a very fearsome looking creature. And then connected to that within the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, you will see, I believe, Mahakala, which looks very similar. And you will see these depictions in, I believe, the old Kashmiri lands that were also Shaivite and Tantric Buddhist. So Shiva is very important within Tantric traditions. But so oftentimes you hear about the Trimurti, the three major gods of Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Brahma is no longer as important in a daily devotional manner. He's considered to be the creator god. There is a major Brahma temple at Pushkar Lake in Rajasthan, but you won't find Brahma as important within India to this day, as far as I'm aware, although you will find him quite important in Southeast Asia. In Thailand, you'll find shrines to Brahma. So you've got Brahma, you've got Vishnu, the maintainer of the universe, and then you've got Shiva, who's often considered to be the destroyer, but my understanding is within the Shaivite tradition, he's considered to be all the gods. He's considered to be a creator, a maintainer, and a destroyer. He's considered in various traditions to be the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth. He's often associated with many goddesses, especially earth goddesses. You'll often see him sometimes depicted with porcelain white skin, sometimes with blue skin. And it's interesting that sometimes if you go to Rishikesh, the water there might be a milky green or a milky blue. And maybe that has something to do with his coloration. I do know he's called the blue-throated one because of a legend associated with him swallowing some cosmic poison to save the world. And it turned his throat blue. And maybe then it extended to include all of his skin as blue. But it could be that he has such a close association with the river Ganges, with the Ganga, and with many Himalayan mountain rivers, which can be a variety of beautiful colors. And so perhaps this is part of the reason why he has this coloration. Perhaps you know more about this. But I think it's quite fascinating because he's associated with the Ganga. There's a story about the Ganges River coming to Earth, and I'll have to look more into the story and tell it, but the Ganges was coming with such ferocity from the sky that she would have destroyed everything. and he was able to catch her in his matted locks. So she came down and hit his hair, and he was able to catch her in his hair, and then she descended from Uttarakhand and down into the Gangetic valleys and onward to the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean. So he is associated with many different gods and goddesses, as I said, and like the Hindu tradition is very sophisticated, and I am so far from having a firm grasp on it. It really bothers me when people speak with authority on traditions when they know very little about it, and then they try to polemicize against something and they don't understand the fullness of it. So anyway, it's interesting because I'll tell you something that while there are certain things that I think are very interesting about the Shaivite tradition, its impact upon, it's kind of associated with primordial humanity to some extent. Like the dreadlocks seem to be reminiscent of early humanity. Like before, like think about it, when we were first walking the earth as humans, in our early expressions of humanity, we did not have swords, we did not have knives, we did not have razors, we did not have scissors. Therefore, we grew our hair out naturally. All of our ancestors, every one of your early ancestors had dreadlocks, almost guaranteed. How would they not? How would they have how would they have shorn their hair? How would they have cut their beards? So anyway, later when you see like the Greeks and whatnot shaving their faces, it's kind of interesting, almost like making a break from our early human expressions. So our early human ancestors would have had beards, and they would have had matted hair. And so this is important to recognize. So perhaps Shiva in some respect is remembering that, and that people are returning to our primordial roots and our ancestral ways by going back into nature in some cases, wandering in the forest, going to sacred power places, just like our ancestors would have done when we were nomadic and semi-nomadic. We would go to power places in order to contemplate, to pray, to get information on where the game was. That's where Lord of the Animals would have been important, and to connect with wild animals that would have posed dangers to our communities. So I think that in Shiva we see many important symbolisms that hold important symbolic values that we may have neglected to see, because when we view him purely as a god within, say, the Hindu tradition, perhaps we are missing some important information that holds value. He's also associated with medicinal traditions, with plant medicines, including cannabis, including a variety of different plant substances and plant medicines. And it would be interesting to learn more about that. So Shaivites have played an important role within Siddhi medicine, within Ayurvedic medicine, which then had an impact on many different medicinal traditions around the world. So I think it's important to look into the full range of information when we're seeking to understand Shiva. So he's associated with rivers, with plant medicines, with wandering in nature, with a nomadic and semi-nomadic life, with power places in nature, such as powerful mountains, powerful forests, powerful rocks and objects that are sometimes used as lingams, which are where the focus of devotion. Pujas are done by Shaivites that include they will pour over the lingams. They'll pour ghee and milk. They'll put flowers and fruits and things near the lingam and the yoni, which represent the male and the female principle, the enlightenment principle. It's related to brahmacharya and celibacy and the cultivation of the masculine energy. So that we can attain enlightenment. He's associated with deep meditation. So there is so much that I don't understand about the Shaivite tradition. It's very sophisticated. I know that the Kashmiri expression is very important. The expression that you find down in southern India, especially like in Karnataka and Kerala and Tamil Nadu, especially the old Chola areas. He's got a number of sacred places associated with him, including Varanasi is his city. To many people, Kashi, the city of light. So there's a strong association with him there. And with not only Mount Kailash up in Tibet, but also with Kinnar Kailash in Himachal Pradesh. These are places of circumambulation, of contemplation, of meditation. So anyway, I'll go ahead and bring this to a close, but I wanted to just share a little bit more of what I know about him at this point. Here at Pashtupatinath Temple, associated with Shiva as Lord of the Animals, a place of sadhus, a place of there's usually going to be a powerful lingam at many of these places. So here we are in Kathmandu Valley in Nepal, the Himalayan country of Nepal, south of the Tibetan Plateau. These are Shiva territories, and these are tantric territories. Even when they are not Shaivite, they're often tantric. One thing that can be a bit disturbing, and is to me certainly, is Shaivite traditions are often associated with earth goddess traditions, which, on the surface, have it's understandable to some extent. But what confuses me and troubles me is the blood sacrificial aspect within some of these Shakti traditions, these goddess traditions, where they to this day sacrifice many animals and then spray the blood around around the vicinity. This is it's very big throughout the Himalayan region, and historically there were also human sacrifices that would take place in many of the goddess worship areas. So this is quite troubling. And you could say, it's comparable to what goes on at Mecca, at Hajj, when there are massive animal sacrifices. I mean, if you've got 2 million people at Hajj, potentially, or 1 million plus, then that means at least 1 million to 2 million creatures are going to be sacrificed, and that blood is going to be shed. So, it's, we don't want to be hypocritical in our analysis, but I'm just stating that in general, blood sacrifice troubles me, whether it's human or animal. And if you are going to eat meat, though, I can understand the raising of a creature and in an ethical manner to take its life and to not waste any of its life or life force. So this is a different issue, but related. So anyway, going to places from different religions, it's a way to think about our own traditions. Compare and contrast is one of the best thinking tools that we have available to us as humans. And it's best to find ways to connect and to see the common points between us, and to find ways that will expand our hearts and expand our vision. So may we be men and women of expanded hearts and expanded vision. May we find ways of healing ourselves and healing our world. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this to a close, but until next time, be happy and be peaceful.